Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to continue our unit on solving equations. This time, instead of just 1 and 2 step equations, we are going to extend it a little bit further, and we're going to be simplifying one side. So we've heard of things before like combining like terms. We've heard of things like distributing. Those are the types of things we're going to incorporate today. So we're going to take one side, simplify it all the way, and then use what we learned previously to solve the rest of it. So we'll get to it. We're going to look at a balance which is similar to what we saw last week in class. So on the balance, the left side is equal to the right side. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up an equation that represents this, and then we'll solve that equation. So let's take a look at the first part of the balance on the left. We have 3 unknown quantities. We don't know what each one's worth yet, so we can just call it x. So we're going to start our equation with 3x. And on that left side, it's also adding 6 more. So I can take that 3x and we're adding 6 to it. And also on that last side, we're adding 1 more of those unknown quantities. So we're adding 1 more x. So we add an x. And when I add all of these things together, it should be equivalent to, because it's a balance, they're the same on both sides, it should be equivalent to this side, which is 38. So I'm going to put equals 38. So if we look at that equation we just set up, we had 3x plus 6 plus x is equal to 38. Now, well, you could have looked at this and said, well, yeah, I just have 4 x's because there's 3 here, there's 1 here. And that's all you're doing when you're combining like terms, is we're taking the like terms with all the x's here, and we're just combining them together. So 3x and 1x combine to make 4x. Then what we can do is take what we did last week and we can solve. So the first thing we would get rid of is the plus 6. So we're going to subtract 6 on both sides. And by doing that, we're left with 4x equals 32. And to get rid of a multiply by 4, we just divide by 4. The 4's go away, and we end up with x is equal to 8. So what we found is that unknown quantity, those circles, they're all going to be worth 8. So that's the first example. Take what we just learned in that first example, and you are going to create an equation that represents this balance, and then you're going to solve for the missing value. So go ahead and pause your video, and when you get back, I'm going to show you the correct setup for the equation. So go ahead and hit pause, come back when you're ready. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to give it a shot on your own. So we're going to set up the equation as the left side is 104. And that left side should be equal to, we have 2 circles up there, that's 2x. And then we're adding 12. And then we're adding 3 more x's. And then we're also adding 22. So there's a lot of things on the right side that need to be combined and simplified. So hopefully you found that the 2x and the 3x, those are like terms. And hopefully you also found that the 12 and 22, those are going to be like terms. So we have to combine those all together. So the next step should have been 104 equals 2x plus 3x equals 5x. And that makes sense because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles. And 12 plus 22, that just equals a positive 34. And that makes sense because those equal 34. So go ahead and solve for the rest of the answer and submit. You'll end up submitting that answer into the quiz on Schoology. So hopefully you got this far, and then you can take the rest of it on your own. Submit that answer to question 1 on Schoology. So it's labeled 1 up here. We will do a couple more examples together. So solve the following by first combining the like terms. So on the left side, hopefully we've identified that 5x and 3x are the like terms, and if we combine them together, it becomes an 8x plus 27 equals 51. From here, it should look very similar to the things that we did last week, so we're just going to solve it using those skills. So we're going to subtract 27 from both sides. 27's go away, and we're left with 8x equals 24. And to get rid of that 8, you're just going to divide by whatever number's in front of the x, in this case 8. And if we divide both sides by 8, we get x equals 3. We'll do one more example together. So the left side is all the way simplified. 12 is as simple as it gets. But on the right side, we have lots of things that we can combine. So let's start with 3x and minus 4x. Those will end up getting combined. And we also have 2 and 6. Those will end up getting combined as well. So we start with 12 equals, if I take 3x and combine it with a minus 4x, think of 3 minus 4. If you have 3 and you're taking away 4, it ends up going into the negative numbers. So 3 minus 4 is a negative 1x. So I'm going to put negative x. If you want to write the 1 in front like that, go for it. But typically you don't write that 1. And then 2 plus 6, if you add those together, it becomes plus 8. 2 plus 6 is a positive 8, so we put plus 8. From here, we end up solving. The first thing to get rid of is that 8, so we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. And then the 8's go away. We're left with 4 equals negative x. What this really means is it's like a negative 1x, so it's like negative 1 is multiplying by the x. So to get rid of it, we divide by negative 1, and then those negatives go away, and we get x is negative 4. So now you're going to pause the video and try the next 2 on your own. We're not going to reveal the answers here. But go ahead and go to Schoology, submit your answers for numbers 2 and 3 into questions 2 and 3 on Schoology, and hopefully it'll give you a little feedback on whether or not you got those right. So go ahead and pause the video, try those next 2 on your own. Okay, last order of business is going to be with some simplifying and distributing. So distributing, you might have seen those little rainbow looking things before. All it really means is take the number next to the parentheses and multiply it to everything in the parentheses. So we will start with the first example. We are going to be distributing the negative 3 to everything in the parentheses. So take that negative 3. You can draw your little rainbows if it helps, and those mean to multiply. So if I take negative 3 times 2x, it's going to become a negative 6x. And if I take a negative 3 times negative 11, a negative times a negative makes it positive, so plus 33. So we only distribute it to those two. The rest of it, we're not going to mess with those, just drop them down like normal. So plus x equals 73. So the first step in that case was distributing. Now that we're done distributing, we have some like terms to combine. So the negative 6x and the plus 1x can combine together. If you think of negative 6 plus 1, think of negative 6 on the number line way in the negative section. And if you add 1, you're getting closer to 0. So it's going to be a smaller negative number, which is negative 5x. Then plus 33 equals 73. And from here, it's just a 2-step equation. We'll solve it like normal. Subtract 33 from both sides. The 33's go away. We get negative 5x is equal to 40. And to get rid of that -5, we just divide, because right now it's multiplying by -5, so we need to divide to get rid of it. And then it goes away, and we get x equals a positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative, so it's -8 for that one. So just to summarize that one a little bit, we took the -3, we distributed it, then we combined the like terms, and then we solved like normal. And the last example that we're going to do together, 14 equals 4 minus parentheses x plus 12. Some of us might think to distribute that 4, but we're not going to do that. This is kind of like when you see that 1x. This is like there's a -1 that's going to get distributed to it. So if you want to write that 1 in there, that's fine. There's a difference between seeing 4 times x plus 12, or in this case, it was minus x plus 12. So in this case, the -1 will end up getting distributed. So little difference there. So let's go ahead and distribute that one. 14 stays the same. 4 stays the same. Now we're going to distribute the -1. So if you distribute -1 to both of them, -1 times x is -1x, and -1 times positive 12 is a -12. So we're done distributing. Now we are going to combine like terms. So I see a 4 and a -12 that can be combined. So we have 14 equals, start with the x's, so -x. And if you take 4 minus 12, that's a -8. So because it's a -8, we put -8. From here, to go ahead and solve it, we're just going to add 8 to both sides. Then those 8's go away. We get 22 is equal to -x. Hopefully you're getting used to seeing this -x, and to get rid of it, we just divide by -1, which makes that minus sign go away. And 22 divided by -1, that just gives you a -22 equals x. So again, all we did first was distributed, then we combined some like terms, and then we solved like normal. So once again, there's 2 more to do on your own. So go ahead and do number 4 and do number 5, and then submit those answers once again to your quiz on Schoology. So good luck on those. If you get stuck, go ahead and try and identify where your mistake was by looking back at the examples. Have a wonderful rest of the day. See you later.